I'm Tristan Winder in the News 2 streaming studio with the Morning Pulse here on this Wednesday, January the 29th. We begin with breaking news just into the newsroom here this week, as there's new details into the death of a Logan County faculty member at a school in the Nebraska Sandhills. We're learning that the high school principal and athletic director at Stapleton Public Schools was being investigated for second-degree sexual abuse by a school employee at the time of his death. Logan County Attorney Andrew Van Nelson is telling us that they were in the process of serving a warrant to Jeremiah Johnson when law enforcement located his vehicle and found him dead Tuesday in a hotel room in Nevada. This taking place last Tuesday, of course. The Logan County Sheriff's Office Department was notified by a parent on January 20th that Johnson tried to make a sexual advance on their student in a secluded area of the school grounds, but got away. The incident led to further investigation, including filing criminal charges and a warrant for his arrest, as well as a confiscation of electronic devices was recalled. That warrant has since been recalled by the attorney's office due to Johnson's death, and the case is now closed. Additional details will be posted at News 2's website if they do become available. It's no secret that the housing market looks a lot different than it did just a few years ago. But in 2025, realtors say that they expect the market to remain steady, at least within the capital city of Lincoln. The Nebraska Realtors Association says last year the average price for new and existing homes in Lincoln was about $343,000, a 2.6% increase, and rates also leveled off around 6 to 7%.
Affordability is definitely a concern in our industry that we talk about a lot and try to find ways to solve that problem. But with the price of rent lately, it is pretty equal to what you could get into a house for.
Realtors say that there's also been disparities as far as who is buying homes. In 2024, the median age of the home buyer was 56, with a decrease in first-time home buyers. And this week, the Nebraska Hospital Association launching a statewide campaign to encourage lawmakers to stand up for rural communities and save health care in rural areas. The NHA has reported that some members of Congress are targeting rural care with massive cuts, including more than $3 trillion in cuts to health care. Great Plains Health Chief Executive Officer Ivan Mitchell says things remain steady at the Lincoln County-based healthcare system, but also expresses concerns on the potential federal legislation.
Great Plains Health has done well this year. We're at about a 3% profit margin, which it's a pretty thin, pretty razor thin margin. If we increased everyone's salary 3%, all of a sudden we're losing money. So it's there's not a lot of wiggle room. We serve a region the size of the state of Pennsylvania, and so we get patients from all over. We see quite a few patients from Southwest South Dakota, Northeast Colorado, and Northwest Kansas, and all those communities in West Central Nebraska as well.
In national news, a new report finds that students are still struggling to bounce back after the pandemic, especially when it comes to reading. The 2024 National Assessment of Educational Progress, also known as the nation's report card, was released this week. It looks at how 4th and 8th graders nationwide are doing in math and reading. Average reading scores have declined at both grade levels compared to the last report in 2022. This continues a slide that started before the pandemic. As for math, average scores increased for 4th graders since 2022, but there was no significant change for 8th graders. And in other national news and health-related news this morning, a popular diabetes drug approved now to treat kidney disease. Yesterday, Ozempic drug maker Novo Nordisk announced that the Food and Drug Administration was approving the drug to treat patients with both type 2 diabetes and chronic kidney disease. A clinical trial found that injections of the medication reduced the risk of kidney disease getting worse, lowering the risk of kidney failure, and cut the risk of death from heart disease. Chronic kidney disease is a common complication for people living with type 2 diabetes. And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, about a third of adults with diabetes also have chronic kidney disease. And lastly, in more national news, coffee prices hit a high this week and compared to last week. Tuesday, future prices for the coffee in Latin America that's very popular jumped nearly 2%. The increase came after President Trump said that he would impose a 25% tariff on Colombia. The White House later paused that decision. Colombia, the third largest coffee producing country in the world. So a bit of a concern for those coffee drinkers out there. For me, I think I'll just stick with my Folgers and my old-fashioned coffee maker at home. Running out the morning pulse with a check the 7-day forecast. Another nice one in store for us today. Temperatures remaining in those low 50s for a couple of days before climbing a bit of a 10-degree shift by the time we hit Saturday. Beautiful temperatures in store for us. Going to feel a little bit cooler then when we get to Sunday, and that decline in temperatures will continue well into the beginning of next work week.